Okay, so I know it's been a while. I was away, and then I wasn't feeling too well, but Baruch Hashem, we're back. And I want to continue the Sefer V'Ani Tamid Imach. It's important to keep the daily learning going. And we're in the middle of Sheila Beis. We're in Daf Samach. And this is where he's discussing, for the next little bit, he's going to finish up the topic about someone who does not really enjoy learning as much, or he feels like he's not being successful in learning. Well, what's some Eitzah? So he begins by describing how one of the issues that make people not feel like they're successful in learning is the fact that they don't remember what they learn. Now, obviously, you have to chazer. That's the most obvious point. But sometimes even with chazara, it just doesn't really stay in their mind. So he begins by giving an eitzah of how to remember your learning, and then he'll talk about even if you forget your learning. He says, "Hine Chazal nasnu eitzes shebehem yizach iz keha'adam lizkar tam limudei." The Chazal gave eitzes of how a person could remember his learning. Huva b'shla, it's brought down in the Shla Kaddish. These are the words of the Shla. Haroitza lilma b'shiskayim biyada. If a person wants to learn in a way they'll be successful, yoitzi hadam repiv. Say the words out. Often people learn just thinking. If you speak it out to the best of your abilities, it'll help you learn. Okay. But then I want to talk about the next step because he talks more about this. But he says, But let's say a person does all this and he still cannot remember what he's learning. So this is the aside. The Gemara tells us in Megillah Daf Vav Amud L'uk Migirsa Siyatim and Shemayahi that in order to remember your learning, you really need Siyat Shmaya. Meaning sometimes you could try your best, and if you just don't have it, it's not working. You need Siyat Shmaya. Al Kain. Ata Asayas Hamut Alecha Lilmod V'Lachsar L'Midecha Kvi Chalecha. This is a big aside. If you're doing your best and you're trying your darndest, then even if you forget, keep learning even if you're going to forget. You're not going to become this huge Talmid Chacham. Who cares? You'll get rewarded. Min hashamayim. And look at the words of the Medrash. The Medrash in Shirusha Rabbah. In Shir Shim Rabbah, Hey Yud Aleph, Amr of Levi. Hatar Nimshal L'Krystal Nokuv Sheschare Ba'ilav Poil Malis Mayim. You know what learning Torah is like? Learning Torah is like you're a paid worker, and your job is to fill up buckets, but they give you a bucket with holes in it. That's what the boss man gives you. Oimer hatipish. So someone who's foolish says, "Mani moil machnes bezu mighty bezu." One person quits because he says, "What's the point? I'm filling up this bucket and it's spilling out all the time." V'apikeach. But someone who's wise, Oimer v'lois charani naita v'lois char kol chavis v'chavis ani nait mabayis. But if you're really wise, you know what you say to yourself? I'm getting paid anyway. What's the difference? My job is to fill up the bucket. The owner gave me buckets that are broken, and that's what he wants me to use? Okay, that's his prerogative. So to it is, someone who's foolish says to himself, I'm learning and I don't remember. What's the point? But someone who's wise, someone who's wise says, you know what, I'm trying my best. And this is b'chalal a good eitzah for when it comes to learning in general. You're trying your best. It doesn't work. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, didn't give you the strongest mind in the world. Or he gave you a mind that doesn't have a good memory. So he gave you a bucket with holes. So what? You're getting paid anyway. You're doing this to come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And every time you learn Gemara, every time you say Tehillim, you're doing that. So you don't remember so much. Who cares? That's ego. That's for you. The Ikar Avodah is for the Bari Olam. And that you're accomplishing. And therefore, even if as long as a person tries his best, that's it. There's nothing to be worried about. I'll end off with this. So he says, he does bring on the bottom, this is from the Medrash Rabin Kehelis, that forgetting is good when it comes to learning. Rabbanan detamin b'shem Rav Yitzchak d'hachav Rav Tuvi b'shem Rav Yitzchak. Rav Yitzchak used to say, l'tayvasei adam loy mitar v'shakeach. A person shouldn't be frustrated by forgetting, because it's a good thing. Why? Shila yadam loy mitar v'shacha, because if you learn Torah, you never forgot how you misasib b'tar shtayim v'shalosh shanim, chayz misasib malachtai. You'd finish Shas once and you never learn again, because you know it perfectly. Baruch Hashem, Hashem gives forgetfulness. Now let's end off with this as a teaching for Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman says in Likutei Eitzes that he says forgetting is the greatest gift. Because he says, imagine if a person woke up every morning and was able to remember every failure he ever had, or every bad thought he ever had, or every time where he tried to become good and it didn't work. Baruch Hashem, our mind's like an Etch-a-Sketch. Every day you wake up, you say, maybe today's going to be different. Maybe today Mashiach's going to come. Maybe today it's going to be successful. And that's the only way to get you out of bed. So Baruch Hashem, this forgetting. You try your best, you try to learn your best, but if you forget, you're keeping the schar, the owner is going to pay you anyway. And we don't learn for schar, but the point is, we don't learn to become a Talmid Chacham either. You learn because that's the Ratzon Hashem. If Hashem gave you kaiches, good. If He gave you less kaiches, also good. All right, we'll continue tomorrow, B'ez Hashem.